Happy Friday, everybody. We almost made it to the weekend. It's already been a fantastic show, even though we're only 20 seconds into it because Megan decided not to play that stupid video of me dancing, which she did on Monday. We're off to a good start already. Happy Friday, 12th day of July, 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz. Got a 5-star show for you because that's what we guarantee you on a Friday. 5-star show or double your television viewing pleasure back. It's a guarantee. I can tell you that much. The big news this morning, earthquake. We didn't have an earthquake. There was an earthquake, though, about 8 miles east of Everett. Pretty shallow earthquake, too, which means it felt stronger than it actually was. And we had a couple of emails from coworkers and viewers saying that they felt a little shaken. It happened in the wee small hours of the morning, 3-something in the morning. I didn't feel a thing. I was unconscious, as I have a tendency to be at 3 o'clock in the morning, but apparently some people around this area felt it. So we had an earthquake. Well, we didn't again, and then they had a minor earthquake, a little aftershock in the Monroe area following that, but I didn't feel anything. So do earthquakes count if you don't feel them? I don't know. That's too deep for me. What do we got for you? We got lots of news to get to, including weekend events. If you haven't made your plans yet, we'll let you know what's happening this weekend. Good news for you anglers out there. Salmon fishing on the Columbia River? No, but Chinook on the Columbia River. Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to sports. Also, a friendly reminder, they're going to be doing that emergency preparedness drill on the campus of Wenatchee Valley College later on today. It starts this morning. They'll be doing some helicopter flies, and there'll be a lot of law enforcement and ambulances and things. It's all a drill. It's all a drill. But if you don't have any business around the campus of Wenatchee Valley College, it's probably not a bad idea to give them a little bit of elbow room as they do that exercise, if you will. That happens most of the day today. Speaking of Wenatchee Valley College, we'll be on that campus tomorrow broadcasting Apple Sox baseball. We're looking forward to that. We'll talk about that when we get to sports. By the way, the Apple Sox won big last night. That was pretty cool. We like it when we can say that. Plus, of course, we have the obscure holiday, today in history, birthdays, and everyone is entitled to my Ignatius opinion, and a great conversation that we taped yesterday with my friend Steve Robinson, the outgoing Executive Director of the Pybus Public Market, and his predecessor, the person who's going to be taking his place, Leslie Freytag. They both came in yesterday. Leslie's got some big shoes to fill because Steve wears a size 13. It's a big shoe. I don't know what Steve's shoe size is, but she'll be taking over when Steve officially retires in the middle of next month, and so they both came in yesterday, and you're going to love that conversation. So Steve Robinson and Leslie Freytag in the back half of the hour. It's 3 minutes. Let's take you around the 3 minutes after the hour. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless, and it's still a little on the green side out there. In fact, this is very important. The National Weather Service issued their fire season update yesterday, and right now we're looking okay. Of course, we've had some wet weather, wetter than normal weather. The temperatures have been below normal. So the fire season, which is officially underway, is kind of off to a slow start. And according to the National Weather Service, the odds of getting a significant wildfire or a forest fire continues to diminish. Isn't that good news? In fact, I have some very interesting weather numbers to throw your way. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Good to have you on board. This is a beautiful area we live in, isn't it? Just gorgeous. Camera 2, where are we off to, Megan? We're going to go see what's happening up at the Orondo Rock area, with Turtle Rock dominating your view. We have that zoomed in a little bit. These are called PTZ cameras, which stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. We can do all of these things with those high-definition cameras. Beautiful view looking down towards the Wenatchee Valley with the Mission Ridge area way off in the background and the Columbia River. That's basically what they call Lake Aniat, the area directly behind Rocky Reach Dam. Camera number 3. Let's take a visit to, is that Stamen Flats? That is Stamen Flats. Yes, that's Stamen Flats. I recognize that. That's the Columbia, of course, with most of Douglas County in view. By the way, yesterday's high, 84 degrees. So we've gone 6 consecutive days with our high temperature below normal. That's not right for this time of the year. In fact, here, check this out as we go to camera number 4. And that is going to be Omi Gardens, Omi, oh my. You can see the high clouds. We'll be dealing with those again today. The long-term forecast for the Northwest, they issued this yesterday as well. The long-term forecast for all our area for the rest of July, this is for the rest of this month, calls for below normal temperatures and above normal precipitation. So we've had a cool and somewhat wet summer so far, and it's going to stay that way. In fact, here's another startling statistic I came up with. I was kind of curious about this. I thought, when's summer going to come? When are we going to have summer yet? From the first day of summer, which was back on June 21st, we've had now 21 days since June 21st, the first day of summer. So I got curious, how many days have we hit 90 degrees in the Wenatchee Valley? I thought that's a nice barometer, a good measuring stick. 90 degrees, considered by many people between warm and hot. So how many times have we hit 90 in the Wenatchee Valley since summer began on June 21st? Not once. Zero. We've gone 21 days in a row without hitting 90 degrees, and we've gone 6 consecutive days with our high temperature below normal. It's been a cooler than normal summer, and if the National Weather Service is on the ball on this, it's going to stay that way through the rest of July. Anyway, so if you like it sunny and hot, you're going to have to be patient because it's not going to be happening for a while. Speaking of the forecast, at 6 minutes after the hour, let's take a look at what we have in store over the next 7 days from our friends at the National Weather Service. And there you go. Partly cloudy skies today, mixture of clouds and sun. I don't think we're going to get to 89. We hit 84 yesterday, our normal high 86 degrees. I don't know, 89 might be a little optimistic. It's 64 right now here in the Wenatchee Valley. A weak little system is going to pop in. A little disturbance is going to come in tonight. It's going to thicken the clouds up. Also, the wind's going to pick up a little bit tonight. Overnight low of about 67. If you plan on going to the ballpark tonight, believe it or not, you might want to pack a blanket. It might cool down once the sun goes down because it's going to get a little on the windy side this evening. Saturday, partly sunny, high of about 89. Again, more probably along the lines of 86 or 87. Wind out of the west about 5 to 9 miles an hour, but we could get a rogue gust or two on Saturday. Saturday night, partly cloudy, 66 for the overnight low, a little breezy at times on Saturday night. Sunday, sunshine at 86 degrees. Then we go to 86, 87, 85, 82. Again, 90 is not anywhere in sight. Almost all of those forecast temperatures are about normal to a little bit below normal. But again, we've gone a long period of time without our daily high temperature making it turn normal. That's kind of interesting indeed. Sunrise this morning, 5:16. Sunset will be at 8:56 tonight. That's 15 hours and 40 minutes of daylight. And as I mentioned before, after they've issued the fire season update from the National Weather Service, which came out yesterday afternoon, right now we are looking good. In fact, they said our most significant chance of a wildfire or a forest fire was actually back in May when we had that long stretch of sunny and warm weather. I don't know if you remember that or not. We certainly do. He said we may have dodged a bullet then because since then it's been a rather cool and at times wet weather around north central Washington. It has definitely been abnormal. It's 8 minutes after the hour. Before we take a break and come back with your Friday morning news, we want to thank our sponsors at Confluence Health for being a part of our television family. Confluence Health, dedicated to providing safe, quality health care for everybody in north central Washington. Come back and join me in 1 minute. We'll have your Friday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
When the people you serve are your friends and family, you see the world a bit differently. You understand that your survival depends on the health and strength of your relationships. Your word is your reputation, and that doing the right thing is the only way of life that matters. At Confluence Health, we remain humble. Trust is a gift that is earned, a privilege, an honor. And we remain grateful for the trust you place in our hands.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, agent here at Senior Insurances of North Central Washington, where we help our clients navigate the Medicare world. One of the things we really enjoy doing is teaching our clients about their rights. Like, did you know that if you have a traditional Medicare supplement, you can change that monthly all year long, regardless of prior health conditions? So if you'd like to know more about your options with Medicare, you can visit us at one of our 5 local offices, as well as give us a call at 888-2600.
10 minutes after the hour on this Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, I am Dan Kuntz. We have fair skies, mixture of clouds and sun, and 64 degrees, and that's really what we're going to have all day today. Clouds and sun off and on with a high in the mid to upper 80s, and that's pretty much the forecast for the weekend with a little wind at times. Here's your Friday morning news. The Leavenworth and Plain communities are mourning the death of Cascade High School teacher Erin Hagedorn. The 42-year-old special services teacher died this week in an accident in Idaho, where she was vacationing with her husband and 2 sons. The family lives in Plain. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help the family. Almost $35,000 was raised in just one day. Details of the accident, by the way, that claimed her life are not available at this time. Well, the Chelan Douglas Land Trust has purchased 40 more acres on property on the White River for conservation. It's a $160,000 purchase. It's all part of a conservation plan that has secured most of the lower portion of the river before it empties into Lake Wenatchee. The river, which begins in the Glacier Peak Wilderness, is a rearing and spawning ground for Chinook, sockeye, bull trout, and in addition, it provides 24% of the water that flows through the Wenatchee River. Well, it's the start of a new era at the Wenatchee School District under new leadership. Our very own senior news correspondent Steve Hare tells us more about Dr. Paul Gordon.
Welcome everybody, excited to be here, excited to be sitting in the seat of superintendency. I'm really proud and honored to be here, so thank you. And thank you to the board and to the cabinet team for participating in today's work.
Dr. Paul Gordon's first official meeting as the district's new superintendent was at a Wednesday afternoon planning retreat. Gordon led a 4-hour discussion focused on establishing a direction and working relationship between himself, the board, and the district staff.
It's an opportunity for us to set our work, to set our purpose, to set our norms and expectations as a collective group. And it's a group that works together in collaboration to achieve the outcomes of the district for our students, for our staff, for our parents, and for our community. We collectively are working for the greater good of our community. So I'm incredibly excited about this moment in time for us.
Dr. Gordon replaces Brian Flonis, who retired this year after serving for 19 years. Gordon arrives during a period of political turbulence within the school board, following a controversial transfer of power involving 3 board members who were elected on a platform of change 2 years ago. 2 board positions are being contested in the fall election, which could reset that balance of power. Gordon will also be tasked with overseeing the district's future facility planning after the defeat of a major high school construction bond measure. Steve Hare, NCW Life News.
Thank you for that report, Steve. Eastmont Parks and Recreation is planning to acquire an East Wenatchee church for development of a new community center. It's the former Living Room Church. It's located on North Georgia Avenue, right across the street from Eastmont Regional Park's softball fields. The director of the park, Sally Brawley, says its close proximity to the park makes it an ideal location for community gatherings.
Whole building will be utilized for the community and for different groups, for our programs and for our partners, which we hope to partner with Confluence Health. We have already got Columbia Valley Community Health on board. So, I mean, everybody's excited about bringing different kinds of and levels of services to the community that hasn't been there before.
Brawley says financing for the purchase comes through the United States Department of Agriculture's Rural Development Loan Program, which the Eastmont Metropolitan Parks District is eligible to apply for. The Parks District Board of Directors has scheduled a meeting for Monday, July 15th. It's a public forum to receive more community input. Phase 2 of the 9/11 Spirit of America Memorial in Kashmir is now officially underway. With more on that story, here's our very own Kyle Montgomery.
The 9/11 Spirit of America Memorial Foundation has started Phase 2 of their plan to add to their memorial in Kashmir. The current memorial has a collection of 9/11 memorabilia dedicated to those who lost their lives in the tragic accident 18 years ago, and plan to add in even more unique pieces in the coming months. Board President of the 9/11 Spirit of America Memorial Foundation, Tom Green, discussed plans for Phase 2, which includes items such as 2 replica twin towers in the center of the Memorial Plaza.
So right there, the 2 twin towers will be put up within the next month and a half. And then about where you're standing between this sidewalk and the Riverside Center will be the 2 other monuments. One shaped like the Pentagon for Flight 77 in granite with all the names of everyone lost in the Pentagon and on the flight. And then of course, a little bit further to my right, here will be the Flight 93 Memorial that's shaped like the state of Pennsylvania.
Green says that after winning a bid for the rights to the 9/11 memorial and statue, the city promised to continue adding on to the memorial.
In the end, we won it in June of 14, And one of the promises we made was that after we build it sometime in the future, we would like to do another more interpretive phase to this memorial. And it's kind of taken foot to become this phase 2 that we call it now, that we're actually standing on part of it, and we're just starting to construct phase 2 right now.
Since winning the bid in 2014 after competing against cities such as Wenatchee and Chelan, Cashmere has hosted an annual ceremony on 9/11 for the past 5 years, honoring and remembering those who lost their lives in the tragic accident. Cashmere Chamber of Commerce manager Gina Imperato tells NCW Life how the memorial has benefited the small town and its citizens.
Being placed here in such a small town, the charming town of Cashmere, this is a great way for people to come out and not only make the visit to Cashmere, but also see this great addition that we have at the memorial here.
Though construction is just underway, the hope is for the new features to be finished before the ceremony in September. With NCW Life News, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
Thank you, Kyle, for that report. Well, keep your eyes on the skies over the weekend up into the Chelan area as the U.S. Open of Paragliding continues this week. Our very own Caitlin Hedersheet tells us more.
130 pilots are reaching new heights in the Chelan area as the U.S. Open of Paragliding continues this week. The event takes place every July on the Chelan Butte and is known as America's largest paragliding competition. The Butte has a worldwide reputation for big air and long-distance potential in the summer seasons, this according to a local Lake Chelan Flyers group. The flying site has been maintained for more than 40 years by local flying clubs and landowners, including the Department of Natural Resources, the Chelan PUD, and the City of Chelan. Paragliding pilots from around the globe travel to north central Washington to participate in the U.S. Open in what's called a task. Each day of the competition, a task is assigned with a turn point to a goal, and points are accrued for distance flown and speed to the goal. Caravans of pilots ride to the top of the Butte to get a chance to compete in the skies of north central Washington, with just a leap from the Butte's edge to take flight. Pilots traveled as far as Wilbur Airport on day 1 of the competition. That's more than 100 kilometers. 77 of the 130 participants completed that goal. The competition has incorporated live tracking, so those of us stuck on the ground can actually track individual pilots as they travel high above. For more updates and videos of the competition, or to learn how you can live track these world-class pilots, visit uspgopen.com. I'm Caitlin Hedersheet, NCW Life News.
Wow. I plan on doing that, by the way, this weekend. Go out and do a little paragliding. I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. I need some ideas. Well, I know what's going on. I don't know what's going on this weekend, but our very own Megan McPherson does. Here's your weekend events.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. Lake Chelan Bachfest is happening now through the 20th. For the 38th year, over 100 professional musicians from across the country bring exceptional music to the Chelan Valley. Start your day outside with a courtyard concert at 10 a.m. Attend noon concerts with a variety of wind and string ensembles Monday through Friday. The Bachfest String Quartet presents Music on the Vine with evening concerts at 6 of the beautiful Lake Chelan wineries featuring varied genres. Go to bachfest.org for dates, times, locations, fees, and stories about the musicians. Waterville Days is Friday through Saturday in Pioneer Park. This is a free yearly event for the whole family that includes live music, kids activities, a classic car show, arts and crafts booths, concessions and food, and more. Full Circle Theater Company and the Numerica Performing Arts Center have partnered to present the first annual Twilight Theater production, The Tempest. The William Shakespeare play will be performed by a local cast in the Numerica Pack Courtyard Thursday through Saturday this week and next week starting at 7:30 p.m. 2019 Run with the Cops Wenatchee is this Saturday at 7 p.m. at Fred Meyer East Wenatchee. This 5K is a fundraising effort for Special Olympics Washington through the Law Enforcement Torch Run campaign. Law enforcement officers volunteer their time and energy on behalf of Special Olympics to raise funds and awareness for Special Olympics athletes worldwide. And finally, the Icicle Creek Chamber Music Festival takes place Friday through Sunday in the Canyon Run Recital Hall in Leavenworth. The 25th annual festival returns to deliver musical experiences brought to you by world-class artists. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Yeah, and wherever you go this weekend, a friendly reminder, we are portable. We stream our broadcasting all the time at ncwlife.com. You can watch it on your smart device, your tablet, your computer. You can watch the news, which airs tonight on your smartphone or your tablet or your computer, or you can watch it on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV. Grant Olson in the anchor chair, Eric Grandstrom with sports. We'll have the news for you tonight at 5, 6, and 10. Get your weekend going the right way. Be informed. Check it out, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock right here on the NCW Live channel. I've been, again, available on demand by going to ncwlife.com. And at the bottom of your screen are all the different ways you can use to get a hold of us. And by golly, you're really good at getting a hold of us. We appreciate it. Fair skies, 64 degrees. We'll top off mid to upper 80s with a mixture of clouds and sun. It's going to be a cooler than normal weekend. Still waiting for summer. Is it coming anytime soon? We're going to take a break. When we come back, big victory for the Wenatchee Apple Sox last night, and good news for you anglers on the Columbia River. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
I told Mr. Nielsen about Simon. He's the best doctor because I like the medicines like he gives me.
He asks more questions, and that's why I feel like he's more interested in the health. For me, it means a lot. That means he really cares about him.
I like you, Simon, and you're my best friend.
When you visit Harmony Meadows for tennis or their activity center, you need to drop by the Love All Cafe. Drink in a locally roasted Blue Star espresso or enjoy one of their all-natural smoothies. Show your guests the breathtaking mountains and surrounding orchards while enjoying a delightful and healthy lunch. Love All Cafe features varied noshes as well as microbrews and an excellent selection of wines. The Love All Cafe, located at Harmony Meadows in the Chelan Valley, just outside Manson.
Back at it, 22 minutes after the hour on this Friday. Let's talk about sports. Despite a summer-long closure of the entire Columbia River to salmon fishing, there's going to be an opening in the Upper Columbia next week. Our very own sports director, Eric Grandstrom, filed this report.
The Department of Fish and Wildlife announced late Thursday that a portion of the Columbia and 2 tributaries will open to Chinook fishing starting next Tuesday and run until October. According to the release, forecasts of hatchery summer Chinook to Entiat and Chelan Falls hatchery programs indicate broodstock needs will be met and surplus hatchery Chinook are available for harvest. Removal of summer Chinook in the Entiat River will also help achieve conservation objectives for spring Chinook on the spawning grounds. That means an opening for fishing starting Tuesday morning on the Columbia River from Rocky Reach Dam to Wells Dam, on the Entiat River from the mouth to just below the fish hatchery, and on the Chelan River from the mouth to the Chelan PUD safety barrier. The daily limit is 6 Chinook, with only 2 being adult fish. Anglers are asked to release any wild Chinook, sockeye, or coho. I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Channel News.
That looks like fun. I'm all in. Speaking of fun, the Wenatchee Apple Sox reversed a trend last night. They found plenty of offense, 16-2. That's not a misprint that you see there over the Bend Elks. In the first 2 games, of course, of the series, both Wenatchee losses. The Apple Sox managed just 3 runs on 9 hits, but last night, the home team squared up 11 hits, scored 16 runs. It was also a near record night for Wenatchee's shortstop. For more on last night's big victory, here's the voice of the Apple Sox, our friend Joel Norman.
Thursday night was full of awesome production all around for the Apple Sox. They didn't commit any errors. Jake Somm struck out 10 in 6 innings, and Cody Darcy finished a double away from hitting for the cycle, as well as 1 RBI away from tying the Apple Sox single-game RBI record. So what a great night for the Apple Sox as they win 16-2 tonight, taking the series finale and splitting the season series against the Bend Elks. The Apple Sox will now take on the Bellingham Bells for the first of 3 games this weekend, all at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium, starting on Friday night at 6:35. With your Apple Sox update, I'm Joel Norman.
Thank you, Joel. Cody Darcy, 3 for 4, 7 RBIs, scored a couple of runs, including a grand slam home run at the bottom of the 6th inning. As Joel mentioned, Jake Somm improving his record to 3-0 on the season. His ERA is now 2.70. That's pretty good nowadays. And as he also mentioned, the Bellingham Bells in town for the first of a 3-game series tonight. We don't know who's starting yet. I guess we'll have to go to the ballpark and find out ourselves. And we're going to be at the ballpark tomorrow night. It's our second broadcast of Apple Sox baseball here on the NCW Live channel. Our pregame for the Bells and the Sox will begin at 6:15. First pitch is 6:35. So if you can't make it to the Paul Thomas Senior Field tomorrow, you can watch it right here on the NCW Live channel. We ready to look at the scoreboard? Oh, there you go. There's a reminder. And by the way, we do have games on the 27th, and we wrap up our broadcast schedule for the Apple Sox on August 3rd. All right, let's take a look at the Les Schwab scoreboard across the West Coast League last night. Calvin Churchin held Ridgefield to 2 runs and 5 hits, 6 innings. Victoria beating the Raptors 8-2. Sam Ireland's walk-off RBI base hit in the bottom of the ninth capped a 2-run rally for Cowlitz. The Black Bears topping Kelowna 7-6. In non-league play, Michael Curiali had 4 of Corvallis' 18 hits. The Knights beat the Hayesville Hammers 12-4. Aiden Welch's RBI base hit in the bottom of the 10th gave the Yakima Valley a walk-off win in a non-league game over the Northwest Honkers. And a 4-run 7th inning broke open a close game. Walla Walla went on to a 9-3 win over the U.S. Military All-Stars. By the way, the U.S. Military All-Stars will be in town next week to take on the Apple Sox. Everett brought 9 men to the plate in a 3-run first inning. Went on for the 7-4 win over Port Angeles. And Kyle Manzardo went 5 for 5. That's pretty good. Also scored 3 runs, had 3 RBIs. Portland beat Perth 15-2. So as Wenatchee gets ready to host Bellingham, here are the latest second-half standings. In the WCL North Division, Port Angeles, Bellingham, Victoria, all at 500. Yakima and Wenatchee, a half game back. Kelowna off to an 0-2 start in the second half. The Mariners, speaking of the second half, they begin that tonight. They're in Anaheim to take on the Angels. Of course, Seattle finished the first half 39-55, last in the American League West, 6th worst record in all of baseball. Los Angeles, 45-46, 12.5 games behind Houston in the AL West, but only 6.5 out of the wild card spot. Mike Leake gets the start for Seattle. He's 7-7 on the year. There's been a lot of speculation that Leake is going to be shipped out of Seattle before the trade deadline at the end of the month as the Mariner reboot continues. By the way, the Halos will go with Taylor Cole. The Wenatchee Valley Skyhawks will take on the Reno Express in the AWFC playoffs. It's Sunday at the Town Toyota Center. Wenatchee and Reno officially 2-2 against each other this season. They only played 3 games on the field. One was a forfeit by the Skyhawks. It was a scheduling snafu. Each team finished the inaugural season of the American West Football Conference 6-6. Sunday kickoff, 5 o'clock. The winner will take on Idaho for the championship. What else is going on in the sports schedule for the weekend? There'll be pulled groins all over Walla Walla Point Park on Saturday and Sunday. The Men's Senior Softball League has their year-end tournament over the weekend. The 2019 Run with the Cops, as we mentioned before. That's Run with the Cops, not Run from the Cops. Don't be doing that. You can run with the Cops Saturday at the Fred Meyer in East Wenatchee. It's a fundraiser for Special Olympics. It's at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And, of course, barrel racing at Appalachie on Saturday and Sunday. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's move forward with the Obscura holiday. It is National Different Colored Eyes Day. It's called heterochromia. Heterochromia. There, I got it out. That means your eyes have different colors. There's actually 3 different types of this heterochromia. Complete heterochromia is when the iris is different from one to the other. The concentration and distribution of melanin is what determines your eye color. Most of the time, if you have 2 different colored eyes, and it's extremely rare, but if you have 2 different colored eyes, it's hereditary, although it can be caused by disease or injury or accidents. People who have heterochromia also have a tendency to have poor hearing, and they have lighter skin as well. I didn't know that. I always knew that David Bowie had that because you look at the David Bowie album cover and his eyes are different colors. One's green and one's blue. Among other celebrities who have heterochromia include Christopher Walken, Dan Aykroyd, and Jane Seymour. I didn't know that. They say the eyes are the window to the soul. If you have different colored eyes, this day is for you. Congratulations. It's the bottom of the hour. Shall we do Today in History? 3 items caught my eye. First of all, this is the anniversary of the Medal of Honor, which was first authorized by the United States Congress on this date, July 12th, 1862, during the Civil War. In fact, there's been about 3,500 Medal of Honor recipients so far, and almost half of those were awarded during the Civil War. Of course, Medal of Honor is without question the highest and most prestigious personal military decoration available. It's the rarest of them all. That you see on your screen there, left to right, is the Medal of Honor for the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. The Medal of Honor came into existence on this date 157 years ago today. July 12, 1954, 19-year-old Elvis Presley called up his boss at the Crown Electric Company. He was a truck driver for the Crown Electric Company. He called up his boss in Memphis, Tennessee, and said, "Take this job and shove it. I'm out of here. I don't want to be a truck driver anymore. I want to sing rock and roll for a living because I'm a rocker and a roller." And that very same day, he signed a recording contract with the gentleman that you see there, Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Records. And so it began. Elvis Presley quit his job and became a full-time rocker and roller 65 years ago today, and it worked out pretty good, musically speaking anyway. And I'm a big fan of baseball promotions that don't work out, and this was a baseball promotion that didn't work out 40 years ago today. This is the 40th anniversary of the famous Disco Demolition Night. Comiskey Park in Chicago, doubleheader between the Tigers and the White Sox. A local DJ by the name of Steve Dahl came up with this promotion, and they said, you know, the folks at Comiskey Park, the owners of the White Sox, said, this is a great idea. So if you brought a disco record to the ballpark, you got in for $1. Not bad. And between the games of the doubleheader, they would take all of the records and they put them in a big bin and they'd blow them up because they hated disco. Well, of course, when people bring a bunch of records in, they're going to start flinging them around like frisbees, and things got out of hand pretty quickly. After they blew up about 5,000 records, there was a huge hole in the outfield grass, and people, having a little too much imbibing, started storming the field. They destroyed the batting cage, they stole the bases, they stole home plate. General mayhem ensued. It was crazy, and after about an hour and a half, they couldn't clear the field or get everything ready to go for the second game of the doubleheader. So the White Sox had to forfeit to the Tigers. Yes, Disco Demolition Night, 40 years ago today. Look at it on YouTube. I wanted to show the actual video, but I couldn't get permission. What do you do? Let's do some birthdays. Henry David Thoreau, the American essayist, poet, and philosopher. Henry David Thoreau was born in the state in 1817. Didn't live very long, only lived to the age of 44. Of course, his book, Walden, about simple living and living in your natural surroundings and not destroying the nature that you see. And civil disobedience, of course. If you feel like you're being messed up by the government, you can protest. Just don't use a gun. There are ways to get things done. Henry David Thoreau, born in the state in 1817. Oscar Hammerstein II, the American director, producer, songwriter. He was one half of the legendary Rodgers and Hammerstein. Richard Rodgers wrote the music. Of course, Oscar Hammerstein wrote the story and the lyrics. Oklahoma, Carousel, South Pacific, The King of I. Their last collaboration was The Sound of Music. Unfortunately, Oscar Hammerstein didn't get to see The Sound of Music become the great success that it was because he passed away in 1960 at the age of 65. Christine McVie, legendary singer, songwriter, and pianist with Fleetwood Mac, is 76 years old today. My favorite member of Fleetwood Mac. You know, she left the group for quite some time, and the group kind of went, and she came back, and the group went, whoop. Finally, one of our co-workers, Mike, celebrates a birthday today. Mike is taking the day off, by the way, so he doesn't know. Happy birthday, Mike. There you are. Happy birthday, Mike. I think he's 56 today. Like I said, he's not watching it because he's taking the day off for his birthday. It's 33 minutes after the hour. Everybody's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. That's right around the corner. Then my conversation with the outgoing executive director of the Pybus Public Market, Steve Robinson, and the lovely lady who's taking his place, Leslie Freytag. Coming up next, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Hi, this is Brian Snyder with Black Rock Asphalt Services here in Wenatchee, your local Black Rock seal coat company. Have you looked at your driveway or parking lot lately? Is it gray and oxidized? Does it have cracks that have not been taken care of? Or do you have striping that is pretty much non-existent? Please give us a call locally here, 509-665-9769. Learn more at blackrockasphaltsealcoating.com.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.
My name is Anaisa Lemus, and I teach at John Newberry Elementary. I had a tooth in the front that was just always causing me problems. It was just happening so regularly. I went to go get a root canal done, and the root canal didn't help a whole lot because then it came back. Both of my parents went to Dr. Divis's office. They really recommended him because he had done such a great job on their teeth. I went and really have had a really pleasant experience with him. He just made me feel really at ease with everything. He was really confident with what he was doing. He said, this is one of his favorite parts of his job, which really made it easier for me because, when you're really passionate about something, they're gonna do a good job. As a teacher, my students, I'll tell them randomly sometimes, oh yeah, with my fake tooth. They're always so shocked. Like, what? It looks like your real tooth. And I'm really happy with the results now.
This is Dr. John Divis. Please call us today.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. I've been reading a book by Roman Catholic theologian Richard Rohr. Now, I have to say, I do think a lot of Rohr's questions and the theological dilemmas he faces would be clear to him if he was married, had a wife, and had kids. Okay, now, no disrespect to the Roman Catholic Church, but both of the mysteries and meaning of life and questions and stuff like that they might have been made clear to me simply because I'm married and I have a family. Now, learning to live and get along with someone else, particularly as someone who is as different and wonderful as Rosie is for me, has caused me to grow and change in ways I otherwise never would have. That's pretty simple, actually. If the Roman Catholic Church would just let their priests get married and have kids, they'd understand our life a whole lot better. I mean, just like you and me. Well, that is, if you're not a Catholic priest anyway. Well, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and the floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time, Mary Maids.
And welcome back to Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. I am a regular at the Pybus Public Market. I go 2 or 3 times a week easily. I love the Pybus Public Market. It has quickly become the crown jewel of the Wenatchee Valley. And from the very, very beginning, as hired by the Pybus Executive Board, the man who ran Pybus Public Market on a day-to-day basis, the Executive Director, Steve Robinson, who's just a wonderful, great guy. But hey, things happen, things change. Steve wants to move on with his life, and so the Pybus Public Market has a new Executive Director, and now they're in that transition phase, and we're here to talk about that and a whole bunch of other cool Pybus stuff with the man to my far left, who is no stranger to this show. The outgoing Executive Director is Steve Robinson, and to my immediate left is Leslie Freytag, who gets the gig on August 16th. Welcome to the program.
I'm glad to be here.
Greetings.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Steve actually pre-wrote the questions. How easy can that be? I love it. I love it. So we'll get to Leslie here in just a little bit, but you told me this 6 months ago that you were going to be stepping down eventually.
Right.
Which I didn't. I was very. I didn't tell anybody. wasn't sure if it was public knowledge.
You mean a news person didn't tell somebody something?
I didn't tell anybody. I know. I didn't. I thought it sounded like it was on QT, so I thought I wouldn't tell anybody. But you made it official with your announcement just about a month ago. I guess the first question is why? Why? It's going great guns. why are you retiring? Are you just what led to the decision to step down?
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. One is I'm at that magical age where people start paying me not to work. And combined with the fact that I've been doing this for 7 years, and I describe Pybus Market as kind of this kind of job. It's a lot. It's 7 days a week. It's, toilets plug and garbage gets spilled 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And it's just a good time for me personally and professionally to step back. And I'd still like to stay plugged into the community in some way, but I'd like it to be, instead of this big a job, maybe something like this. And so it works out for me personally and professionally, and it's a good time in kind of the evolution of Pybus for me to hand it off to Leslie, who will take it to another level.
What was it? I mean, you were there from day one, and when nobody really knew if this gonna work, what are we gonna do? How's this? I mean, everything was new. There was no instruction manual.
Right.
You were kind of going as you went. And at what point along that process did you go, I think this is gonna work?
Well,
I think we got something.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good question. I would say it took us that first full year to recognize that it wasn't just a flavor of the month, kind of a fad. And that when we saw regular local individuals, the local residents start coming back on a repeated basis, that's when we knew maybe this thing will work. But it did take that first year for us to convince ourselves that it was on solid footing.
And it has the vibe. It has, and I've said this before, there's no other way to describe it. When you walk into Pybus Public Market, you just feel good. It has a vibe to it. It's like a microcosm of the whole valley in one building.
Yeah. I kind of use the term kind of Pybus karma, and I think there's a little bit of that down there. I often get asked, why has Pybus been successful? And I say there's 3 reasons. One is the building itself, for the reasons you described. It's a cool building. You walk in and most people are looking like this, and it has a good vibe. But the merchants are the second reason. We have very distinct and unique merchants, as you and your listening audience know. And then the location plays into it. It's great parking right along the river, right along the loop trail. So those 3 things, I think, building, merchants, and location, have made Pybus what it is today.
And the cheesemongers, the good folks from Leavenworth, are now in there as well.
The
so
cheesemonger is back.
I don't drive up to Leavenworth to get my cheese.
That's right. That's right.
That was a nice thing.
That was a good thing.
That was a good thing. And of course, stability. Almost all of the businesses that were there from day one are still there today.
So we've had some turnover, but I would say today we really, really like our mix of merchants. And we hope that we can retain those merchants in the long term. I think they're stable and solid, and certainly the hotel business next door that opened this spring is helping them. So, you just see the development of the waterfront, and we think maybe that Pybus Market played a role in that.
And I love what you're doing with the south parking lot. Thank you. That was the one thing was getting that done, and it's fantastic. Your most memorable event at Pybus, or is there any one thing that stands out at you?
So I'm not a morning person, but what I will say is I enjoy coming on Saturday morning and being one of the first ones there at Pybus, and the lights click on and you're rearranging some furniture, and then you come back, say, at 10 a.m. and the place is vibrant and full and there's 1,000 people. So kind of the contrast between nobody there at 6:30 in the morning to 10 o'clock when you've got the farmer's market going outside and literally thousands of people visiting. That contrast is really gratifying to see.
Live music.
Live music is fun. We have live music on Friday night, and then the farmer's market has live music on Saturdays. I would really say, though, that Saturday morning is a special time, just to see the contrast between a dark building with nobody in it versus literally thousands of people a few hours later.
I can personally attest to this because I saw it happen. I think it was last year. I popped into Mike's meets on the north end of Pybus, and Steve was right there. You were chatting, we shook hands, we talked a little bit. And then as I was working my way down the Pybus from north to south, Steve was as well. And you were trying to get to your office, and I think it took about 45 minutes for you to get because every 10 feet you pop into somebody you knew, you shake hands, and you start talking, and it was...
Well, I mean, so that's very appropriate because, right, our motto is where community meets. Yeah. And that motto was derived from public comment and public input, and it really is true. I mean, if you're down there or Leslie's down there, all of us are going to see people we meet, and that's the very purpose of Pybus Market. It's a gathering place for the community, and sure, we get some tourists there, and that's good, and we want tourism dollars in this community, but it's really built by the community for the community, hence the motto, where community meets.
Hi, Leslie.
Hello, Dan.
How did you get the gig? How did this all happen?
Well, I've served on the board for the last couple of years, and obviously this has become such a great jewel for our community. And when Steve began talking about stepping away, I began thinking about what a terrific opportunity. I've always gone to other locations to work, and I thought this would be a great opportunity. Pybus has grown so quickly and become so successful in a short amount of time. I really wanted to be able to come in and fill some very big shoes. Steve did a terrific job. I mean, to create something from nothing with Steve and the Walkers and all the support from the community, I'm thrilled to have this opportunity.
I can see the job interview right now in my head with Leslie. What's your number one goal? Don't screw it up. Steve's done such a great job. Don't mess it up.
No,
right?
I am very grateful for all of the heavy lifting that he's done.
Yeah.
And we're spending about a 6-week period of time transitioning and working side by side. And I'm excited to have this opportunity.
Did you know that you were going to get the gig? I mean, you had to go through the formal process, all of this.
Well, I began talking to the executive committee that this might be something and gave them some ideas on some things that we might want to pause for a little bit and think about how we grow and prepare for future growth. So actually, my role is transitional. I'll be in this role for a couple of years and working with the board and all of our great merchants and our restaurateurs and thinking about how we prepare for the next big growth spurt that we're anticipating.
Did you play any role at all, Steve, in this, or are you it's up to you guys to name somebody to?
So really, my job is to take the information that I have, which is 7 years worth, and in a relatively short period of time, transfer it to Leslie so the continuity's there. And I guess I'd say this, in addition to what Leslie just said, is that like any business, we're really in the early stages of our life cycle, and any organization goes through phases of growth. And we've reached a point now where I've been able to influence it a certain way with, I think, some good outcomes, but another set of eyes will take it to another level, and that's natural, and that's a good thing for any organization.
You talk about growth,
yes,
which is inevitable, and hopefully will continue to be incredibly popular. But the footprint of the market itself is set.
Yes,
the building's not going to get any bigger.
No.
I mean, you have the local event center, which is recently remodeled and has become a huge hit.
Yes,
but there is potential for more square footage.
We are looking
ways.
at all kinds of things. The first, yes, you're right. The footprint has been set. As you commented earlier, the South Plaza will be completed next Friday. We plan to open, so access all the way down from Aranda with a beautiful view to the river, and we're excited to be able to have that happen. We are kind of landlocked where we are. We do have some land just north of us, Lake Pybus, that might be a potential place to look for some expansion. We have lots of things we're going to be looking at and study and then make some determinations over the next year or so.
The Hilton Garden Inn, they're
Yes.
probably pretty happy.
Yes, I think so. And I know our merchants and restaurants are thrilled.
Yeah.
It's just been incredible, the amount of business that we've seen just in the last couple of months. So, and all of our restaurants are running huge growth over year.
Well, they should be, because I'm
Yes.
down there on a regular basis having my
there's-
lunch there.
Now there's
can tell you.
lines.
Yes. I'm a sucker for the Cuban sandwich at the Columbia Cafe. What can I do?
Yes, that's a great sandwich.
Yeah, it's a really, really good sandwich. You've worked for some heavy hitters. I mean,
Yes.
I guess the question I have is, Leslie, why do this? I mean, you seem to be settled in your life. Things are doing good. Why take on this challenge?
Crazy me. I'm the same age as Steve.
So you just turned 50?
Yes. I'm saying, and we're both sticking with that, right, Steve?
But why take on this challenge at your point in your life?
I always had to, when we moved to Wenatchee in 2003, I had a very big career. I went to school at Colorado State University, got my degree in textiles and clothing, and Go Rams, and went to Neiman Marcus in Dallas, Texas, and spent 22 years there with a career merchandising and working on the merchandise side and also on the direct marketing side and on the retail operations side. After 22 years, we had an opportunity to go to Southern Oregon, and I joined Harry and David and learned how to sell $5 pairs, which was great. And during that time, my husband was involved with a startup, and became Crunch Pack. The apples are here, and we moved to Wenatchee in 2003. That was the end of my big retail career, so for me to work I would go to Seattle from time to time. So I did some, worked for Tommy Bahama. I actually worked at Crunch Pack and built the product line. And most recently, I was CEO of a cosmetic company based in Seattle. I wanted to return home.
Yeah.
And so when this opportunity came along, I thought, oh, I think that I hopefully can add some value as Steve talks about. It's the life cycle of a business and all of the heavy lifting and what it takes to get something up and running when there isn't a manual on how to do it, and every day you're figuring it out. And now it's time to put a little manual around it and see where we go from here.
You need a whole bunch of different skill sets for this job to work. I mean, sometimes you have to kick a little butt, and sometimes you have to, pat them on the back, and sometimes you're a troubleshooter, and sometimes you're, as you said, you got to take the garbage out, things like that.
Lots of different skills. It's a very big umbrella. Lots of skill sets, lots of heavy lifting. We move furniture, we take trash out. We work with clients, with the customers when they come in. We work with we're also...
we do TV interviews.
We do TV interviews. We work with our merchants and restaurateurs and our team. And yes, lots of different skills, lots of balls in the air all at the same time.
But you have a great staff too. And
we have an incredible staff, absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve has
We
assembled
really do.
some really great people. And
We really do. We're small, but folks are, so I think the best thing to say about the staff is, one, they're talented, but two, they believe in kind of the mission of Pybus, that this is a community asset. And I think that's in part why we've been successful. Staff, our board of directors believe in the mission of Pybus, and even the community, people that come down, you and the listening audience, they're there because it's more than a building. It's the heart of Wenatchee. It's the heart of the valley. It's where you interact with people. So it's that, I think, belief at the staff level, at the board level, at the community level that this is a fun, dynamic, exciting, valuable place. So that's, I think it works at multiple levels.
I'm sure, Leslie, they ask you during the job interview process your vision of the Pybus Public Market.
I share the same vision that Steve and the Walkers and the board have. Just to continue it being the place where community meets, and really looking at the opportunities. We're stretched for storage space and capacity for the kitchens. So really looking at how we can just continue to support what the community expects for us to do.
I know it sounds like it's a champagne problem, but can Pybus become too popular? Can it get to the point where I don't want to go to the Pybus anymore because there's just so many people and I can't walk from one end
So
to
I
the
think that's partly what Leslie and I are both referring to, is how do you thoughtfully take Pybus Market to its next level? So on some Saturdays, we know we have parking challenges. We know that on a regular basis, especially with the hotel crowd coming over, that a lot of our restaurants have seating capacity issues or kitchen issues. So it's how do we grow and how do we provide a great visitor experience that I think we have up till now, but as the waterfront continues to develop, as the Wenatchee Valley continues to grow, how do we continue to provide that amazing visitor experience, from parking through service, through food, through the whole experience? How do we do that exceptionally well? And that's her job, not mine.
What are you going to do on the 16th day of August when you get up and, hey, I don't have to go to work today?
I might jump on my bike and enjoy a very relaxing bike ride that morning.
Yeah, that's right. You're a huge, I forgot about it. You love to
I do like to bike.
That's your number one hobby. What do you like to do when you're not working, Leslie?
I love to be outside. So gardening, hiking, walking.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm glad to be able to work right on the riverfront, so I can go for a walk.
Are you going to be able to be in contact with each other after the 16th? I mean, are you going to get a call from Leslie? Where's the stapler, Steve, or something like that?
So we're doing a pretty good job of passing on knowledge to Leslie, but we're not leaving the community, so we'll be here. And so my phone number is just one punch away for Leslie to call.
Which I really appreciate. In fact, we're having our second annual Taste of Pybus on October 2nd, and Steve has volunteered to be a volunteer at our event, so I'm grateful for that.
Anything else while you're, I mean, this is a rare treat for you to have you here, Leslie. Anything else on your mind while I got you here? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I want to just encourage the community to keep coming, and we're going to work through some of the growth challenges we face, but I'm excited about the next few years.
And while we were talking, I got a text and somebody wants to meet me for lunch down there at for Pybus. So
great, I'll see you at lunch then.
I'll be down there. Oh, by the way, good news.
It's where community meets.
It's where community meets.
Yes, it
my,
is.
My brother I've talked to him many, many times, my brother the mayor. He's working as hard as he can to get Burlington Northern Santa Fe to move their offices out to Malaga. He's working on it. He's working on it.
That is one of our biggest challenges.
Yeah,
yes.
So I do say this, and with all great respect to the leaders in the city government, it's a big issue, and that I think what the railroad does, no dis. I think it divides the downtown area from the waterfront, and it's just if we could solve that in the relatively near future, I think that would be a huge development for this community.
Yes, it would.
And for those of you who don't know, what we're talking about is Burlington Northern. When the trains come through, it's no big of a deal. So the trains move, and it comes, the things go up, you go right back into the Pybus. But it's when they do their shift changes, and a new engineer comes off, and a new engineer comes on, and their offices, unfortunately, are just down the block from the Pybus, and so you sit there and you go, how come the train's not moving? Well, that's why. But if they can, if somehow or another they can all come to an understanding that if they moved it down to the Apple Yard or to Malaga, the chain would come all the way through and stop down there, and we wouldn't have nearly the delays that we have now.
Yes, that would be one of the single biggest things we could do.
That would be huge.
Yes,
that would be huge.
Hey, Dan, before we ring
please,
off,
Steve, go ahead.
I really want to thank your viewers. It's, Pybus wouldn't be what it is today if it weren't, city government, port, public officials, the local residents, all supporting what it goes on. It's just, it's remarkable how this committee's community has rallied behind Pybus and supports it day in and day out. That's what makes it work.
And the vision that Mike and Joanne Walker had about this whole idea.
I guarantee you one thing, when you go to Pybus and you leave Pybus, you will feel better as a human being after you leave Pybus than before you got there. That's something I always take away.
It's a special place.
I can go out and tackle the day after I
Yes.
visit with my friends from Pybus. I've actually gotten calluses from shaking hands. I'd run for public office, but my brother was already the mayor. Go get him. Anytime you want to come on,
I'd
you're
love
more than
to.
welcome
Thank
to.
you.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'd love to
And I'm
do
glad
that.
you're going to stay active. I'm glad you're just not going to sit at home and watch Matlock and play shuffleboard.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
and
good.
have dinner at 3 in the afternoon.
No, we'll be asking Steve to serve as a volunteer.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be
Yes,
there.
I know.
Well, he made a copy of the keys, so we can get
Yes,
anything.
he has full access.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Being able to support yourself and your family is an important part of who we are. We all need to know we're able to provide ourselves with a secure future. Some job seekers have a harder time finding work. That's why Goodwill's Employment Connection Center is here, a free walk-in job search assistance program designed to help people find work. When you shop at or donate to Goodwill, you're really being a job creator, and that's a good thing for everyone's future. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
Hi everyone, this is Brent Crowder. After 13 years with the Town Auto Group, I have returned home to Town Toyota where it all started. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, let me help you find the right one at the right price. Toyota is reliable and trustworthy, and you can count on me to be the same. When it comes to buying your next car, you can't go wrong with Toyota and Crowder. Ask for Brent at Town Toyota or call me now at 888-5000.
Well, the weekend is almost here, so let's wrap up this program where we began this program with our weather forecast from the National Weather Service. Are we going to get to 89 today? I'm starting to have my doubts. I'm thinking more like 86 or 87 degrees. We've been at 64 degrees for the last hour and a half or so, so we haven't begun to climb that ladder. A little bit of a wind today, not much to think of. Small little disturbance comes through tonight. It's going to thicken up the clouds a little bit, a little windy at times, 67 for the overnight low. Not a bad Saturday, right around 88 or 89. Again, a mixture of clouds and sun, and we're going to see that. Mostly sunny skies on Sunday and Monday, and still a few clouds, passing clouds here and there. I mentioned this at the beginning of the program. We're now 21 days into summer. This is the 22nd day of summer since summer started on June 21st, and we have not hit 90 degrees yet, which is very, very odd indeed. In fact, counting yesterday's high of 84 degrees, we've now gone 6 consecutive days with our high temperature below normal. It has been a cooler than normal summer so far, but we got a long, long way to go. Hey, joining me on this show on Monday, Misty V. Brock and Jim Fosse's talking about Rivercom. They want to keep Rivercom going as an entity, and they have something on the ballot for you to think about on August 6th. That'll be on Monday's program. Provided the show isn't canceled, we'll see you Monday. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.